When love turns toxic in narcissistic marriages. Marriage is a sacred institution created by God, designing to be loving and mutually supportive partnership between two individuals. However, when one partner exhibits narcissistic tendencies, the relationship can become toxic, controlling, and abusive. Let us explore biblical perspective on narcissistic marriages and whether divorce and separation can be a viable option. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental disorder characterized by an inflated sense of self-importance, a need for admiration, and lack of empathy for others. In a marriage, this can manifest in emotional abuse, manipulation, and control. The narcissistic spouse may use guilt, anger, or self-pity to maintain power and dominance over their partner. The Bible teaches us that marriage is a covenant between two people, with God as the third partner. But whenever one partner is consistently violates this covenant through abusive and controlling behavior, the relationship can no longer be considered as healthy or biblical. We have to love and respect. In Ephesians 5:25-33 instructs husbands to love their wives as Christ loved the church, and for the wives to respect their husbands. In a narcissistic marriage, this mutual love and respect are often absent. Mutual submission between husband and wife is totally absent because of the narcissistic behavior is inherently self-centered and refuses to submit to anyone. Psalms 11:5 says, "The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, He hates." God hates violence and abuse, and it is not His will for anyone to remain in a situation where they are being harmed. Now, is divorce and separation an option in this narcissistic abused marriages? While the Bible teaches that the marriage is lifelong commitment, it also recognizes that there are situations where divorce and separation may be necessary. Jesus teaches us that divorce is permitted in case of adultery or sexual immorality. While narcissistic behavior may not be explicitly mentioned, it can be argued that emotional abuse and control can form emotional adultery. In 1 Corinthians 7:15, Paul writes that if an unbelieving spouse leaves the relationship, the believing spouse is not bound to the marriage. Similarly, if a narcissistic spouse refuses to change and continue to abuse their partner, separation or divorce may be necessary for the well-being and safety of the abused spouse. Always remember that narcissistic marriages can be incredibly challenging and toxic. While the Bible teaches that the marriage is a lifelong commitment, it also recognizes that there are situations where divorce and separation may be necessary. If you are in a narcissistic marriage, know that you are not alone, and there is a hope for healing and restoration. Seek support from the trusted, godly friends and families, and consider seeking guidance from the biblical counselor or pastor. Remember, God hates violence and abuse, and He desires for you to be safe and to be in a good, loving relationship.